calling from the Trib. I'd like to confirm a quote.
Getting right around for 2 hours.
Can you tell me approximately how much money was involved? Was it over $1,000? Was it over $10,000?
Yes, and that's where I got a call before they go to lunch.
Surprised Ted let you out of bed so early.
Lance.
A little joke there. I'm a sore loser, okay? Let me help you.
An old college friend of mine was just made chief of police in Davistown, Florida.
You okay now?
Thanks. Couldn't do it without you.
Ted?
How you doing, pal?
All right. I didn't think you'd be in until this afternoon.
Oh, neither did I.
My racquetball game got canceled. Sorry, the club warming up and Senator Collins called, said he had the flu.
He's probably afraid he creamed again.
Hello, is Susan Gallagher there? Fine, I'll hold.
Hey, Billy.
Hi, Ben.
Oh, boy. I think it tolls for thee.
Tell her it's Billy Newman. I promise you she'll talk to me.
What do you got there?
Oh, just a little something.
Hey, Ben, come here.
Would you let me know what's going on?
Oh, I'd be glad to.
Mrs. DeViva.
I've been going down to the ball weekend.
So if the council votes against rent control, they'll just hang themselves.
I could get to like a story about them twisting the breeze.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi.
On the way to Modesto.
Don't forget to write.
There's a riot in the state prison. 500 prisoners in the yard, 20 guards hostage, one already killed.
When this happened?
6 this morning. Just came over the wires. A while from to establish communication. Prisoners want to talk to the media. They say they'll exchange one hostage for every interview with a reporter.
That's 150 reporters. Glad you're here. We'll get you right up there.
I think the senator had the flu, huh?
Lou, can I talk to you?
Not this minute.
It has to be now. I just wanted to remind you we had a deal. The next statewide story was mine.
What about the spy who escaped, Warshawski?
I was the first one to get to his lawyer in Florida. If they extradite him to L.A., I got an exclusive.
How'd you do that?
The Old Girl Network. You know I want to expand beyond Metro, and this prison ride is the perfect stepping stone.
Pomeroy's already on his way.
Because he got to you first. I was 2 feet behind him.
No, it's because he's very experienced and very good. He covered Attica and Santa Fe. He's the first one I would have called.
I won't get experienced if I don't get experience.
Where's it, Ryan?
I heard about it in the elevator. Send someone up there fast.
There's no commercial carrier out of Los Angeles to Modesto until tonight.
Charter a plane from another airport.
You think so?
We can't wait on this one. It's major. I can feel it.
I already checked with Van Nuys. Danny Evans has been flying out there.
Here you go. Why is Danny heading up?
Been chartered by someone else. Helen Patterson.
What's she working for now?
Time or Newsweek, I forget which. West Coast Bureau Chief.
That woman snaps up stories like a lizard after flies. Leave it to her to have the only flight.
Negotiate.
With Helen Patterson?
Hello. Yeah, oh. Hi. Hello, darling. Yeah, I'm sorry. I really am. I just feel dreadful about it. Yeah. Well, have pity on your old ma, will you? After all, I'm the one who's going to have to schlep up there. I promise. Yeah, on your grandmother's chest pie. We'll do it. Uh-huh. As soon as I get back. Okay, bye, Parker. Hello, who's this?
Lou Grant, Miss Patterson, Metro editor of the Tribune. You don't know me, but you once met our Emmy, Charlie Hume, at the press club.
Lou, I'm in a hurry.
I know you're flying up to Modesto.
Oh, to make the wire?
We need to get some people up there, and we're in a jam. Can we hitch a ride with you?
It's rather like General Montgomery hitching a ride with Rommel.
We are competitors, you and I. West Coast Daily and a news magazine?
Look, I like to be first on the scene. You get a better motel room, right? Away from the ice machine.
Or close to it. Depends on your point of view. Look, we'll even pick up the tab for the charter. How's that?
No dice.
Here's a giant favor I'll owe you.
I'm thinking of what that could possibly amount to.
Here's something I really didn't want to bring up. Stan Friday, the guy that had the job before you.
I remember Stan.
I saved his butt on the floods in '77. The cover you ran of the cars floating down Laurel Canyon was by a Trib Photog. Stan's kid missed it. I let him use our stuff.
Oh, I'm paying back a 5-year-old debt, right?
Look at it this way. You'll have someone on the plane to play cards with.
I hate cards. Have your person there by 12.
It might be 2 persons.
2?
Thank you very much, Helen. Remember, I owe you for this.
I'm writing it down.
Billy, you're going with Ben. We'll get foolish from the wires.
Great, Lou. Thanks a lot. I gotta change the clothes in my car.
What's that all about?
There's plenty up there for both of you.
Oh, I don't think so.
Look, get up there, check it out, and let us know. Then we'll reassess, all right?
Hey, come on. I got off 10 minutes ago. I'll give you a ride.
Will you phone Ted and tell him I'll call him when I get up there?
Sure.
Thanks.
Have fun. Who are you sending to Modesto?
The ship has sailed.
Don't I get a shot at it?
But I hear the line started at 7:30 a.m. We're just too late.
That figures.
You got a cold?
Allergies. I couldn't get out of bed this morning.
It's getting soft.
You'll feel better when you see what Donovan has for you from the environment desk.
What is it?
The Julian Sphinx moth is in danger of extinction.
You're joking.
He is not. It's the hottest bug story we've had in months. Come on, Rossi. It's the bee's knees.
X-ray, Evanston Unicom, go ahead.
We'll be arriving in 5 minutes, top dog.
Roger.
All checked out.
How's it look?
There's a storm up north. You'll have to get over that weather, which means you'll be cruising at about 17,000.
The plane can take it, right?
Yeah, just need oxygen masks, so.
Oh.
17,000 feet's no big deal.
Fine, let's go.
My seat's at Dodger Stadium. We're higher than that.
Taking time talking about it.
This the next plane to Vegas?
Ah, what on earth you doing here?
Trying to get the hell up to Modesto. I hear you've got the only ride.
I could be making money on this flight. Ben Pomeroy, Billy Newman, from the Trib.
Bob O'Brien.
How are you, Bob?
I'm glad to meet you. Your book was the one that made me finally understand what was going on in Vietnam. I'm really pleased to meet you.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Could we squeeze on one more?
That's a 4-seater. We've got a 6-seater coming in from Tahoe in about 2 hours.
Sorry, Bob. Just can't take the time.
Luck of the Irish.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Evanston Unicom, 77 Charlie.
Go ahead.
Is there a place to get a good sandwich on this field?
There's a reasonable coffee shop midfield in Westminster. Big green bar. Always got vendor sheets here.
Yes, thank you. 77 Charlie.
So this moth only breeds in one barley field in Kern County, and it only lives for 7 days?
They thought it was extinct for 50 years, but it was rediscovered in 1978. Scientists have to keep its breeding ground a secret because for years collectors have been searching for this one specific moth species. I mean, it's a great adventure story.
Just don't take any wool sweaters with you. Think you can handle this animal?
Sure, why not?
Well, last week you missed that hostage release at the liquor store.
Oh, yeah, the cops wouldn't let us behind their lines.
And yesterday that congressman got away from you somehow.
Bad luck. What do you think I should have done?
I think you could have been a little more aggressive.
Rosenthal, rewrite.
They're bringing the spy back to L.A. tonight, Wachowski. Who we got on it?
Billy. 1493 Victor, Evanston Unicom, over.
93 Victor, reading you, over.
Do not proceed to active runway. Need you to return to ramp. One of your passengers has to get off, over.
Sorry, darling.
Have fun.
don't be mad at me.
I gotta be mad at somebody. I'll be honest with you, I really had to rev myself up to fight for this story. I knew Pomeroy had it locked, like he always does. And when you said yes, I felt so terrific, like I'd finally won one over Mr. Macho Reporter.
His stories sound glamorous, but you know what he's doing right now? Standing in the rain, drinking cold coffee, waiting for a bunch of psychopaths to stop hacking each other to death. Pretty close to heaven, huh? Charlie, we want to talk to you about the Warshawski spy thing. Charlie?
Bad news. Terrible news. I just heard from the airport. Plane we chartered went down over the mountains a couple hours ago.
Survivors?
No survivors.
Oh, my God.
Lou Grant will continue in a moment here on A&E.
I cabled it inches of being on that plane.
I was on that plane.
Was about time, I guess.
You were lucky.
It was fate.
Stop talking about it. I can't believe you're arguing about this. What difference does it make?
Here's all they had on Ben in his personnel file.
I can hear this.
Ben Pomeroy. Born Manhattan, August 4th, 1940. Mother Ingrid Sexton. Father Judge Samuel Pomeroy. First Circuit Court, Long Island. Hobbies? Needlepoint and nude volleyball. Wise guy.
Does anybody call Ted? Oh, my God, he's gonna think I was on that plane. I gotta call Ted.
All hell's breaking loose in Modesto, you know. We're gonna have to send somebody else up there. Don't look at me like that. You were thinking of business, too.
Put Rosenthal on the next commercial flight.
Oh, sweetheart, it's me. I'm all right. I'm okay. A plane went down, didn't you hear? Yeah. I was on it, but I got off before it left. I'm okay. No, nobody. Everybody was killed. They don't know what happened yet. Could you hold on just a minute? Yes. Please. Yeah, that would be good. I just need to be with you.
Lance, I have something here that needs a rewrite.
What's that now?
Never mind.
This is the El Segundo Blue. It used to range 37 miles up and down the sandhills of the Pacific shoreline. Now it's been reduced to a tiny plot in the middle of an oil refinery. But a local butterfly protection society convinced the oil company to fence off the habitat and save the species. So that's where it lives, in this tiny little island in the middle of the asphalt.
Too bad.
Well, that's the way the world will look in the year 2000. Only the weed species will survive. You won't see a red wolf or bald eagle in the wild. It'll be you and me, hopefully. Cockroaches, mosquitoes, and dandelions. Here we are.
What's so important about this moth? I mean, what would happen if it didn't quite make it?
Jeez, Rossi. I mean it.
Other animals would die too, and plants. Ecosystems would be destroyed.
Actually, it's hard to make a case for the individual species. I can't tell you what the ecological consequences would be if the Julian sphinx moth became extinct.
Why not?
Well, we simply don't know enough about this particular moth. There are 10 billion species of plants and animals on Earth. Of those, only 1.5 million even have names. That's how much we don't know.
Boy, I thought you guys had that stuff wrapped.
The species like this are becoming extinct even before we discover them. Organisms are disappearing before we know how they can be useful to humankind.
Useful how?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. Well, here's a butterfly from the Orient that contains a tumor-reducing compound.
Huh.
Armadillos are becoming important in the study of leprosy. A South American rodent, the capybara, has an anti-leukemia agent in its blood. And these things have been found just in the last 20 years.
What about this moth? What's its importance?
Look, I understand the instinct to relate everything to man. And what can this organism do for us? But we really are part of the game. The fewer species there are, the poorer our lives will be.
You mean people won't get to look at butterflies anymore?
Look, endangered species like these are symptoms of endangered biological resources. The demise of the Julian sphinx moth is just another quietly stated, subtle little warning from nature. Pay attention. Now.
Charlie, you ready?
I suppose. I don't know why I agreed to this. Why should I give the eulogy? I'm the one responsible.
I won't have you blaming yourself.
Pretty hard not to.
Charlie, I could have said charter a plane just as easily as you.
Yeah, but you didn't.
It was a fluke. They think the crash is due to icing conditions, but they won't know for months.
It's a few hours. Could have waited for a commercial flight. Shouldn't have pushed it.
They were running for a hot, breaking story. Any one of us would have gotten on that plane.
Anything you say at that memorial service will be more satisfying than the obituaries I read in the Tribune.
What's wrong with them?
I didn't get anything from what you ran except the usual. This one was a crack reporter, that an independent woman and a brilliant interviewer. And this one wrote a famous book. Isn't there more?
I guess because they were reporters, we backed off.
These reporters died trying to get a story. That's a story. I want to know who they were, why they were on that plane.
I agree with Charlie's instinct. I'd be afraid of that. It's self-serving.
Well, I can understand your fear. These are tough, competitive reporters. Each of them must have been driven. Why look too closely? There may be things about ourselves as journalists we'd rather not find out.
Lou Grant will continue in a moment here on A&E.
Lou? Art told me about the feature on Pomeroy, Patterson, and O'Brien, and I want to be involved.
You sure you really want to put yourself through all that?
I don't know how else I'm going to stop having nightmares. I'm feeling so guilty. And at the same time, so grateful it wasn't me, and sickened and just amazed by my own dumb luck. Why them and not me?
Well, you're not going to figure that out in 1,500 words.
The only way I know how to get through this is to write about it.
Okay. You take Pomeroy and O'Brien. I'll research Helen Patterson.
Why?
I told her I owed her one. I don't want you going up there with all those pollens.
It's okay. I'll take a lot of pills. This is an important story.
You'll kill yourself. You did it last year, too, and then you're out of commission for 2 weeks. Animal can do it alone. Your allergic nose will thank me for it.
Okay, but you're going to hear from a lot of Biff boss.
Pomeroy was the reporter's reporter.
You know that he also had a law degree?
Covered every war in the last 15 years. He'd go anywhere where it was really bad. Went to Palermo to cover the mafia, Culiacan, Mexico to cover the drug trade.
When the U.S. and Cambodian governments couldn't have cared less, he hired mercenaries to go in and retrieve the bodies of reporters who were killed in Cambodia. You know what he did after the assassination of Sadat, don't you?
No, what?
Oh, this is famous.
What?
Well, he was in Rome on a vacation when he first heard the news. He does not wait a second. He charters an executive jet. A jet, mind you. Puts it on his credit card and takes off for Cairo.
Knowing the paper would pay for it.
I find that hard to believe, that the paper would pay.
It's true.
It's true. He had Miss Pynchon eaten out of his hand. Nobody knew him better than I did. It's true.
How did you get to know it?
I used to drive him to the airport a lot, bring him back, when he came in. It was pretty often since he used to travel so much. I'd pick up his mail, take care of his dog.
You considered Pomeroy a close friend?
Oh, great friend. I mean, we were buddies. Like, we used to stop by this bar at the marina where they had these turtle races, right?
I know that place. It's a real single scene.
What about his wife? How did she feel about it?
Ex-wife. That's how.
Lance packed up Ben's things.
Yeah, that was real sweet of him, but I think I'll just go through and take the things that mean something.
What'll I do?
I'm sorry, where were we?
I think you were saying you were married young.
Oh, yes, in college. And then I majored in being the new bride. Lunch with the girlfriends, cooking and shopping.
Doesn't sound bad.
I got restless. I tried a lot of things before I opened the cookware store, and I was lousy at all of them. Ben was real patient with me.
He was involved with his work at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was real difficult then. I'm sorry, can we go someplace else?
Denise, I'm sorry, come on.
Oh, it was my fault. It was totally my fault. I screwed everything up.
Can you tell me?
I suddenly decided that I was as creative as he was. And I wanted to do something wonderful.
That doesn't sound so unusual. Or so terrible.
When I opened the cookware store, that was the beginning of the end. I was so busy, and Ben said I was neglecting him. Suddenly, we both had schedules, and at the end of the day, Ben would bring half the city room home with him. All young reporters. They thought the world of him. But I wasn't as interested in his friends as I should have been. They were all 22 years old.
Didn't he understand your need to do something on your own?
No, not very well.
It sounds like... Never mind.
What?
I was just thinking... Maybe you outgrew him.
I outgrew him. No, that's impossible. Look what he achieved. How can what I've done ever equal that?
Lou wants moths, I'll get him moths. So, what's on your mind?
Ben Pomeroy.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to ask you a few questions.
No, it's not a good time.
What is this? Reporters love to talk about him, and I can't get one photog or one editor to open up.
When I first got here, Pomeroy took me under his wing, showed me the ropes. He loved doing that, and we got along great.
Yeah?
Yeah, we did a series on Watts together.
I remember that.
It never ran. He wanted portraits, skylines, dawn, dusk. I was overshooting like crazy. You know what? His story didn't have it, and he was hoping the pictures would pull him out. He couldn't go to the desk and say, "Help, it's not working." That would have blown the image.
A lot of people bought that image.
Yeah, being a winner was important to him. Made him a good reporter, but it made him impossible to work with. Feel awful saying this about a guy who just died.
I was always very competitive with Ben myself. Maybe it was the man-woman thing.
You know, I never saw him with guys his own age. He only hung out with younger reporters. He always had to be the teacher.
I talked to his ex-wife, and Pomeroy was very unhappy when she started her own business. She ventured out on her own, and he felt threatened.
Listen, he felt threatened when I told him we didn't need another shot of Watts Towers.
Oh, boy.
Not going to be easy to write, is it?
Guys in the city room aren't going to like this much. And anyway, why should I expose him? The man is dead.
Look at it this way. He'd have done the same for you.
I guess this one's all yours.
Don't be a sore loser, Newman.
Next time.
Many of the inmates ask for you.
Tell them I send my love.
Right.
Well, have a good trip.
Drive carefully on your way back now.
Lou Grant will continue in a moment here on A&E.
Where's your friend Rossi?
Ah, his allergies kicked up all this green with a total.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
I'm under a little pressure to get this one. I hope this is the right week for Sphinx Moth.
Well, this isn't the place. We're still 5 miles away, but it looks like a potential for another colony.
Where are we looking for them?
They fly close to the ground. Or they'll be sunning themselves.
Sunning themselves? You mean like people?
Yes. They bask in the sun until their bodies absorb enough heat to be able to fly.
No kidding.
Morning. I'm, Colonel John Taylor, retired. We must be in the same business.
Heath Wilbur. This is Dennis Price. He works for the Tribune.
Hello there, Dennis. I read many of your articles with great pleasure, Dr. Wilbur.
I've read yours.
I don't know what luck you've had with the Populanidae, but I just took a copulating pair in mint condition. They were hilltopping it on that ridge over there.
Great. Thanks.
Have they still got you working on the Julian Sphinx moth?
Well, that's one of my projects.
Have you found the breeding ground?
The Julian is endangered, Colonel.
Well, it's not on the endangered list.
Well, we're fighting to get it there. Look, I can't force you, but I strongly request that you not collect that species. We could lose it altogether.
Message received, Doctor. I'd rather wait for a healthy population anyway. Well, have a nice day.
That guy's one of the worst. Big amateur collector, and all he cares about is completing his list. They buy catalogs and match them with specimens. We call them stamp collectors.
I get the feeling he really wants to go home with the Julian Sphinx Moth today.
You bet. Once they're on the threatened list, that's when those guys really want them.
How much are they worth?
Perfect male? Maybe $700.
I wanted to know how you're doing on a triple profile.
Billy got what she needs on Pomeroy, but she's having trouble with Bob O'Brien. He's a lot harder to track down.
From what I hear, he was a reclusive guy. He had a drinking problem.
Billy says his life was more depressing than his death. Not much family. He was withdrawn, antisocial. She'll try to find something redeeming, but I don't know.
Talk to Stan Bristow down in San Diego. O'Brien worked there while he was writing the Vietnam book. You know, that's a shame about O'Brien. Could have been a superstar. Could have sunk into obscurity. With him, it could have gone either way.
Okay, this will help.
What do you think you'll have the story?
Yeah, next week.
See if you can hurry it up.
Right. What I want to know is, put a lead on O'Brien for you.
Oh, great. Thanks a lot.
How you coming? Any answers to those cosmic questions?
I wish. So far, it's all just depressing me.
Well, I want to get started on Helen Patterson. I'll let you know.
Don't let your editor push you around.
Well, this other story's mine, too.
Oh.
Hey, there's a story around that won't have your name on it?
Step on somebody's toes once upon a time? Phew.
How long did you work for Helen Patterson?
Only 6 months, but that's about all I could take. Want some cream?
No, thanks. What was the problem?
She wanted everything typed perfect. I mean, you know, on a manuscript, you can get away with whiting it out. But letters, forget it. She'll make you do the whole thing over.
What was the manuscript?
Oh, it was this book she was writing on women in prison. I couldn't stand to read it. All those pitiful stories. Why couldn't she pick something cheerful?
She was famous for her interviews with difficult people. Did she ever talk about that?
Not much. She once asked me if I liked this dress she had on.
Really?
Yeah. Well, she wanted to make the right impression on famous people, I guess. She didn't know how to dress. Always the same old stuff.
You told her all that?
A tactful way, of course. And, she asked me about a lot of things.
Such as?
She'd bounce ideas off me. Like if she was writing a book or an article, she'd ask me if I want to read it as a consumer.
Sounds like you got along.
She was kooky. No men in her life. You know, everything was so serious. And the job just wasn't any fun.
Oh. Could I see the manuscript on prisons?
I sent it back to her son, along with the rest of her things. Boy, you'd never get me up in one of those little planes.
This is the room that Helen Patterson wrote about.
Yes, she was the first reporter I ever allowed in my house. I've had bad experiences with the press.
I'm sorry to hear that. Ah, a lot of famous events took place at this house. Eisenhower, Nixon, Johnson, they all came here for advice at one time or another.
You've evidently read my biography. Very pleased.
Actually, the best source on you is the profile Helen Patterson wrote. She really told it all.
Yes.
I guess you didn't like it very much when it appeared.
To the contrary. I thought it was marvelous.
They say she was tough. Did you two get into some arguments?
I do remember some long conversations. She seemed to fit into the background. I grew used to having her around. I liked her. She was a awkward, homely type of woman with that back problem and all. But she certainly knew how to listen. Did you know her?
Only by reputation and one conversation on the phone. I liked her, too.
God only knows what kind of life she had. Seems that she gave it all to the people that she was interviewing.
What exactly do you think she gave you?
Understanding.
Absolutely no one knows where this breeding ground is?
Oh, just the man who rediscovered the Julian moth, the museum, and the farmer who owns the land. It's fun, actually, and he's proud of it. He won't even tell his kids which field it is.
Now, what do we do once we find the moth?
Well, it's a mark, release, and recapture study to determine the present population. What's up, Taylor?
Well, I suppose we're both headed for the same place.
No, I don't think so.
Well, the museum doesn't own that moth. You're not the only ones that have a right to collect it.
The species will be destroyed by overcollecting.
You have no right to withhold this from the public. I've been studying this for a lifetime.
Don't pretend to be a scientist. You're nothing but a selfish, greedy creep.
You're going too far.
No! You've gone too far. Now, that's it. The study's over. No one will see the Julian. We're going back to L.A.
I'm just finding out my mother kept lots of secrets.
From you?
From the world, I guess. I was raised by my dad, you know, in Washington, D.C. Hardly saw my mother at all growing up. I didn't really get to know her at all until I came out here for college.
So she always worked as long as you can remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember once she took me to Rumpelmeyer's in New York for ice cream with some other kids who turned out to be Caroline and John Kennedy Jr. She'd been doing a profile on the president.
Was that exciting, seeing your mother as a well-known journalist?
I guess that's about all I saw her as. I mean, she'd visit maybe 3 times a year. It was tough for women to have a career and family in those days, but she did a worse job than most.
Once you got to know her, what was she like?
It wasn't easy for me to know her. Maybe she wouldn't have gotten on that plane had I been more insistent about seeing her that night.
From what I know about your mother, I don't think anything would have stopped her.
Still, it was easier not to push it. We were just both feeling our way. When she said she couldn't make it, I was relieved.
Don't lay that on yourself.
Let me show you something. I just found this yesterday. She generally didn't let people in this room. I don't know why. She never let me see this before. I didn't know.
Will continue in a moment here on A&E. Turns to Lou Grant.
Come in. Sorry it didn't work out.
Well, don't check out yet. There's still a chance it might.
Keith, I've been here 2 days, and I'm going back empty-handed. You want to face my editor?
I have an idea. It's kind of off the wall, but it might work.
Well, I'm not the one you got to convince.
On a good day, Bob could be witty, wise, best companion you could want. Yeah.
Thanks. But they were bad days.
The black hole, that's what he called it. Just coming out of your basic black hole, he'd say. But onward and upward.
You mean he was depressed a lot?
Well, after 20 years in the business, Bob had evolved a certain view of humanity, that we were selfish, petty, and incapable of being saved. I don't hold that opinion myself, except during election years.
Was he married?
He was divorced twice.
Why? Drinking, maybe?
Well, his first wife said that she went crazy because all he could worry about was writing. And his second wife went crazy because all he could worry about was not writing.
So you have his book.
Oh, yeah.
What was he like when he was working on this?
Oh, he worked like crazy on that for over 2 years, but still didn't have it. So he took a leave of absence, went to New Hampshire, lived in a cabin in the woods, and came forth with the manuscript.
That seems pretty disciplined for somebody with a drinking problem.
But the paradox about Bob, there was discipline and dedication that went through him like a steel bar, but also despair.
Even when the book became a bestseller?
Oh, he was high on it for a while, had all sorts of offers, including a 2-book contract.
Which you turned down?
Which he accepted, and then had a nervous breakdown over. Just didn't think that he could write another book as brilliantly as the first.
He froze.
He sank to the bottom, terrified.
Did you see him much during that period?
No, nobody saw him. He just dropped out. Well, I can tell you where he went, however, if you want to follow that dark trail.
What is the name of the ice hockey team from St. Louis, Missouri?
Oh, I know it. Don't tell me to...
Sally will receive a brand new 25-inch color TV with stereo potential, remote control, clear resolve, and wood grain cabinet finish. And she'll be able to watch that on triple tile carpet in lovely things.
Sorry, darling.
Have fun.
Now I know how an old goat feels when a pretty young thing gives up her seat on the subway. I'm too tired to be anything more than grateful, thanks. My God, they're allowed into first class these days.
What a spinner! How about that, audience, huh?
Hi, I'm Billy Newman. You must be Sam?
Hi, yes, how are you?
Do you live here?
Oh, it's 2 days a week. The residents are self-sufficient. Oh, you want to know about Bob O'Brien? He left here about 6 months ago.
Excuse me, miss. But are you talking about Bob O'Brien?
Yes.
Man, that wasn't fair. Can't believe it. And I was going to show him my outline next week.
I'm writing a story about him. An obituary, actually, and I need to know what he was like when he lived here.
When they brought him into detox, he was half dead. He stabilized, and then he came here. Turned out to be one of our more outgoing residents.
I could relate to him because of the booze. But also, he understood what I was trying to say.
What do you mean?
I mean, in my stories,
he would read my stories.
Bob eventually hired Lionel to do research for him on prisoners who write.
Well, I've been inside a few times, so I know. But also, he really liked my stuff.
You mean he critiqued your work?
Yeah, and he had rules. And if you didn't follow him, he wouldn't have nothing to do with you. Like, you had to write every day. You had to keep a journal. You had to make a schedule of your plot. And then you had to put it on index cards. And that's what I was going to show him next week.
Did he work with other people here as well?
No, ma'am. I'm the only other writer. So he trusted me, you see.
Trusted you? How?
I used to go over to his place and type up stuff for him. So he gave me an extra set of keys. See, look. He gave me his keys.
See, Keith is the only one who knows where the barley field is, so if we switch cars, the colonel will think he's following Keith, but actually I'll be in the Jeep and Keith will be heading off to the field.
When do you get to take the pictures?
I lose the guy. And then that's easy on these country roads, and then I'll meet Keith. It's gotta be this way. These moths are only flying a few more days.
Listen, Animal, I don't care how Baroque you get, just get the pictures. No excuses.
Problem?
I respect the right of any moth to be happy to multiply. Just not when it gets in the way of a story.
You know that this planet is losing species at the rate of 1 a day?
Yeah, we lost a lot of species before man came along.
Still, I'd blow that assignment rather than lead that guy to the moth.
You're not serious.
Sure I am. Of course, I got more guts than Animal. And a lot more tenure.
All right.
Damn. Is this O'Brien's system?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh, but it wasn't there last time.
It looks like the outline for a new book.
Yeah. Sometime he'd leave tapes for me to transcribe.
It happened on Tuesday morning. In other news, let's see. Woke up today feeling clear. Worked 3 hours. Got almost through the first draft of chapter 1.
This here's his journal. He kept it on the
Interrupted by
tape.
the old lady downstairs. She said she knew she could visit because all I was doing was typing. I told her never to visit when she hears typing. I hope I wasn't too stern with her. I hope I was stern enough. She lived in this house since 1918. Told me again about the days when orange groves stretched from here to the hills. Gotta call Lionel. Find out how he's done. If it's good enough, maybe I can use his piece in the book. And the old lady reminds me, our need to remember the past is narcotic. A defense against the terror of the present moment. Check, that's the third one.
I think you really captured Pomeroy.
You don't think I was too rough?
You described the guy the way he was. Some people liked him, some didn't. I did. Nice job.
Thanks.
Of course, you edited the heart out of my part.
Billy Newman. Oh, hi, Ted. How was your flight? You find any great shortstops in Sarasota? No, I'm fine. I'm just finishing this piece. You really want to hear? Okay. I'm skipping down near the end. Yet there was something important and basic to journalism, to the lives of the 3 who died. There was the courage and patience of being a pro. Fierce competition and self-doubt, too. In the end, they chose to take a risk because that was part of their job.
Ben Pomeroy, Helen Patterson, and Bob O'Brien all made a choice. The same choice over and over, no matter how stormy their lives. Like a needle returning steadily to a true direction, they held a commitment to do a job well. There's a dignity and quiet grace in that. Is it comfort enough for those who knew them? It will have to be. Okay.
Well, Julian Sphinx Moth is alive and well in Kern County.
Glad to hear it.
16 adults were sighted, as well as 72 pupae.
They counted?
Very carefully. And I hear when they hatched or emerged or whatever it is they do, it was real spectacular.
You hear?
Lou, I didn't get the pictures.
Why not?
It was a choice between leading this maniac collector to the site and having him eventually destroy an entire species by killing specimens and selling them, or not getting the shots. I decided not to get the shots.
That's the third time, animal. I could have you suspended for a week without pay. But I won't. Long live the Sphinx moth.
What does sex and gender mean to people of other cultures?
We'll go round the world to find out in the A&E special presentation, The Opposite Sex, Saturday.
Now, a young recruit undergoes the rigors of the police academy course. Kurt Russell stars in Police Story, next on A&E.